Christian Walk, Christian Talk with your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, faith again. Let's go. Welcome to Message Monday. What's up, fam? It's your boy, Tony Briscoe. Welcome to Message Monday. Y'all know how we do. Christian men, Christian walk, Christian talk, where the sisters are always invited. My man, Gary Dotson, will be here shortly. He taking care of some family business, but in the meantime,
yes, sir.
You got your guest co-host, and I got mine tonight. My man, Mike Wiley, is on Message Monday. Bro, what's happening?
Man, it's been one today, man, but I'm feeling better. But I'm glad to be here, bro. It's my first time, I think.
Yeah, it's your first time, man, on Message Monday. And there my man Gary is, boom, bringing him in here while he's adjusting his camera and got to get his audio working.
Look, that's what I was just doing. I'm like, Lord Jesus, it's so hood. I'm adjusting everything while I'm live. I should have had this ready.
Gary, get your audio live, bro. We can't hear you yet, man. So while you working on that, yeah, you got to figure it out, man. I was on early waiting for you to hop in, man, so we could do an audio check, bro. But figure it out. In the meantime, twine is not a word, y'all. Although I'm a hip hop head, so we can make anything a word if anything. But we got my man Mike Wiley here. Mike, man, introduce yourself to the people while Gary's working on his audio, and then we'll have prayer and we'll get into something I really want to discuss tonight, and that is Kirk Franklin's, I call it a testamentary. Yeah, that testamentary.
Interesting.
About fatherhood, man. So we'll get into that in a minute, but introduce yourself to the people, man.
Appreciate it, man. My name is Michael Wiley. I am the host and creator of the Man Up Real Talk podcast. Our tagline is a podcast for the people. And when you ask the question, well, who is the people? It's me, it's you, it's the guy over there in the green shirt, it's the cat at the gas station selling, whatever it is he's selling. It's a podcast for everybody. And we want to kind of give it that barbershop vibe, whereas you can discuss things, there's no judgment. It's no, you're not looking at a person crazy because he or she has a different opinion. And we cover a wide range of everything. I mean, we talk about everything from current events to marriage to family to, pop culture, whatever it is. But we try to give just that common sense perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like we live in a world now where it's like the uncommon and the weird and the crazy is louder than the things that make sense. So we try to be that voice of reason amongst all of that stuff, man. And it's not, we ain't the smartest cats in the room, but we have our opinions and we have our point of views, and we just try to be as real and as genuine as we can about whatever it is that we're talking about. So, that's we've been doing it now for 6 years. Yeah. And we started off as just doing audio, and it grew and so we decided to go into this video thing just to see how that would work. And we've been doing video now, like live streaming, for about almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
And having a good time with it, man. We have a small but loyal following, man, and it's I love it. And I do it because I don't know. I just hope that somebody listens to it, and they, even if it don't change their mind, they get a different outlook or a different perspective. Because sometimes just being able to see what the other person sees, makes you, helps you to kind of understand them a little bit better. And if one person can walk away from our show with a different perspective, or maybe got a laugh out of something they was feeling a little down, whatever the case may have been, then, I feel like I did my job.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's beautiful, man. And that's kind of Gary, I don't even remember when we kicked off, man. Do you? No audio from you still, bro. Fix that audio, man. Fix that audio. But Gary and I, we kicked off, I think maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. This
Okay.
is episode 57. We try to come together once a week. We take breaks, in between seasons of sessions, depending on what's going on and what's moving
Yes, sir.
in our life. We have been talking about doing this show for years. I finally just a few months ago created a run a show just to help us stay on topic. But sometimes you know how this go, bro. You got 6 things you want to discuss.
Yes.
And you end up doing the last 5 in the last 5 minutes of the show.
I swear we just did that Friday, but it turned into like the sports podcast. I'm like, bro, we can't talk about the Bears right now. No, Mike, I just want to say this one thing. All right. And that went for a whole nother 20 minutes. So I get it, man. I understand it.
Bears gonna test your faith, bro.
Oh, Jesus, Lord. I'm telling you, I got some blessed store right now. I'm like, if they just let me in, I'm going right to the 50-yard line and just pouring it out there.
Yeah. Gary, you may want to go out and come back in, man, and see if you can get that straightened out in the meantime. But we always kick off with prayer, Mike, on Message Mondays, man. So we're gonna do that. Father, in Yeshua's name, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for the gathering of minds. We thank you for Brother Mike Wiley being here. We thank you for getting us through this day with all of its challenges. Today, had to walk in some serious humility. Had to take emotions off a sleeve because you said be slow to speak and be slow to wrath. You said that a fool speaks all of his mind, but a wise person considers his words. So I thank you for the Holy Spirit that I was not a fool today and that I considered all of my words. So bless those who will chime in on tonight, particularly men, as we talk about fatherhood and the experience that come along with that. In Yeshua's name, amen.
Amen.
Yeah, bro. So wanted to really create a show for Christian men where we could talk about things that other people talk about. It's nothing unusual, but just not have the language piece, right?
Right.
Some people don't want to hear profanity. Some people don't want to hear certain other words used, and so we choose that. We choose
absolutely
to be able to do that, just to share, and we don't have also a large following, but we don't necessarily do it for the numbers, man. If the one can get hope, if we can say something that's going to encourage someone not to take their own life tonight or tomorrow or in the future, that's why we do this show. We always want men, and we lift up men here. We challenge men, but we don't degrade men. We challenge women. We don't degrade women. We challenge fellow Christians. We don't degrade fellow Christians.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, I don't watch this brother a lot. Man, I feel like it occurs to me that Jason Whitlock just got a serious hate for black people. This the way this dude just talked about, he doesn't think Dion is all that. Is I just like, does this brother have anything good to say about black men?
No. I don't think he does, and I remember watching Jason Whitlock, and I was like, okay, I understand that with these debate shows,
yeah,
you have to have both sides of the coins. You have to have somebody to have like these different takes, and because that's how the conversation gets started, right?
Yeah.
And I'm watching him, but I'm like, this dude, I believe, genuinely believes a lot of the stuff that he says. And I remember when Kobe died, how he was like, my condolences and this, that, and the other, and we really going to miss him. And I'm like, that is the most hypocritical thing I think I've ever heard, because you have done nothing but dog Kobe for his entire existence.
Yeah, he's a hard watch for me, and I'm not into sports. Gary, get back on. Gary's very into sports, so he may have a bit more, man. But when it comes to, when I listen to clips and audio clips, audio clips don't really give you the full story.
Exactly.
But bro, it's too many clips about this dude. I'm like, do you even love black people?
Have you heard his take on Black Panther?
Mm-mm.
Dude,
I'm gonna have to go watch.
When you get a chance, look it up. It is just. It's one of those cringe / anger inducing things that just make you look at him and be like, really, bro? Is that what we're real? That's how you saw it. All right. All right, man. Whatever.
Yeah, it's really weird with this guy, man. And I've just never seen him. We're talking about Jason Whitlock, Gary, and I just never seen this brother have. He's we still can't get you, bro.
Is he muted, Gary? Are you muted?
No, he's not muted. He's not muted. Yep, nada. Give it a reboot. Have you rebooted? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I've never seen this brother, and I'm not saying he doesn't say anything positive. So I want everybody to hear me. But the clips that I see of him, I just don't see anything positive coming from this dude.
No, not normally.
He said, and he's talking to Brett Favre, and he's like, as a Christian, I don't support Deion's arrogance. And Brett Favre was like, where'd that come from? Like, Brett Favre was like, well, we can debate that all day too. But it was just like, come on, dude, you got a white guy over here talking about how great Deion is, and then you come in to say this brother played 2 sports, dude. Are you kidding me? That puts him and Bo Jackson in the category over any other athlete for the rest of their life. They are sold in history, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. The weird thing about it is it's like him with the take that he has, and then the coach before they played the game, the comment that he made about him, when he was talking and he was like, I don't know about anybody else, but I know when I talk to people, I was told I take off my hat and I take my sunglasses off because my mama taught me better. And I was like, wait, what? Like he made it personal. And the thing is what's crazy is, and what I think a lot of people don't understand, like, oh, okay, you don't have to like him as a person, right? But you can't deny what he's doing for this program and for the people in Colorado. And I know to some people it's easy, it's easy for folks to hate on things new and exciting. I don't know what it is about people and why they have like anything that's new or anything that people are really talking about. And it's just like, man, this, that, and the other. Folks, some folks just have it in them. It's just something that's in them, Tony, where they have to hate it. They have to hate it because it's new. They have to hate it because it's exciting. They have to hate it because everyone else is talking about it. And I don't understand why.
Bro, Forbes said, this is from 9/18/2023, that so far, Deion Sanders has brought about $17 million to Boulder, Colorado, to their economy.
I believe him.
Favre said he's a marketing genius. He's prime time.
Yep.
Now, he's been low-key for years. He was low-key for years, bro, just doing his thing, figuring out who he's going to be an athlete. Still had his reality show for a little bit and all that.
Right.
But he stepped into this arena. When Michael Jordan came out of retirement, 500 jobs opened within 2 days in Chicago. When Mike came out of retirement, right? You got Deion, who has brought awareness to HBCU football.
Absolutely.
A team is 3-0 or 2-0? 3-0?
Right now they're 3-0.
A team that won one game last year is 3-0, and the stadiums are packed. So let's talk about the man's impact on the economy by itself.
Yes.
And this is from a non-sports fan. So I can imagine a guy like you who is a sports fan, you look at this from a total package deal, not just one side.
It's crazy because when you just look at what he's doing just for the ticket sales alone, like right now, one of the highest cost ticket for one of those games is $512 for a college game.
Wow.
A college game. What he is doing for the college scene right now, it hasn't been done. Like I don't think there's ever been a time, and I'm gonna be honest, I follow college football, but not like that. But I've never seen this much excitement and this much vigor, this much anticipation for college football. not like how he's bringing it, man. And it's like people now have a vested interest in what he's doing with these programs. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he come out of this thing being one of the highest paid coaches in college ever.
Oh, it's clear, because when have we heard in history, oh, I'm not going to see the team, I'm going to see the coach?
This game was a spectacle in itself. You had Lil Wayne leading the team out on the field. You had the Rock was there for like college week, and all of these other big time guests was there for a college game. You see that for like the stuff like at a Lakers game. You see all the stars hanging out and everything. I've never seen that for a college game, man, ever.
Yeah,
but you know what? There's another angle to that, though.
Go ahead. And welcome, Gary. How you doing, brother?
Well, it's about time. Hey, it's a typical Monday, man. I went through the same rigmarole, and I don't know what happened. But anyway, because I'm not a college football fanatic, but I follow college football. My team is Notre Dame. I follow Big Ten. I follow it pretty regularly. But I remember when Nick Saban first went to Alabama. Now I'm about to bring forth the common denominator, and I remember the buzz that he created by going to Alabama, a historic and storied college football program. We're talking going back to the 1940s.
Yep.
I remember when Charlie Weiss went to my team, Notre Dame, the buzz. I remember Ty Willingham. But the common denominator with Deion Sanders, at least what I see, and it's some others, but the main group that's going to see him are African-American fans of Deion Sanders, not necessarily of the Colorado Buffaloes.
Right.
That's the common denominator.
Agreed.
And I think if he begins to lose, and I'm not wishing that, and for the record, I despise the Colorado Buffaloes. And this goes all the way back to the 90s when they went up against Notre Dame and they had to share the national championship. So I'm deep in this.
Oh, yeah, you like a little personal there, bro. You know,
it's personal.
This sounds a little personal.
It's personal.
I got stuff falling out my mouth.
I also, as a man, I'm Deion, do your thing. But as an athlete, as a fan, I'm against Deion because he used to play for the San Francisco 49ers and he used to play for the Dallas Cowboys and he used to play for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm against him.
This is some deep rooted stuff, man. I'm glad
man.
It's gonna be a healing show today, man.
But I got all that out. But the common denominator, I think, the African American support has been overwhelming, and I think in that regard, the buzz has been unprecedented. I can't remember, especially in college football, a Black coach creating this much buzz, this much excitement. I mean, you got people crazy. Now, it's like the Tiger Woods effect. Yeah. It's just like the Tiger Woods effect. You had people in the hood, gangster disciples, vice lords. Man, I'm trying to get in 18 holes a day, bro. Tiger, I'm telling you, Tiger, it's the Tiger Woods effect. But then now they're going to be calling it the Deion effect.
Yeah, and I think the challenge is, and I just watched the hit on one of the players.
Yeah,
from this weekend. It was a dirty cheap shot. It was a dirty cheap shot. And, I saw people justifying the hit. And it was a dirty cheap shot, which is why they threw the flag.
Yep.
He should have been kicked out and ejected. Now, had that been an NFL game, those benches would have cleared, bro.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If that would have been an NFL game, dude. Those benches would have cleared. I almost liken that to the hit on Matsui. that came out of nowhere. I mean, the play was dead. That was absolutely that ended his career.
Yeah,
that ended his career. Right.
I used to love Matsui.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, just a little talk about Deion, man. And before we get into the topic on tonight, because this is where I really want to hit home. And for those of you who are watching, please share the broadcast because we're about to get into a very important topic in our community. I think a report came out a few years ago that Black fathers are more involved in the lives of their children than any other race in America.
Really?
Yes, sir.
It came out that Black fathers are more involved and engaged than any other race of parent in America.
Yes, sir.
That seems so counterintuitive.
It seems counterintuitive because that's what the media, and I want to choose my words carefully here.
Right.
It is more acceptable in the media to portray Black men as effeminate, to portray Black men as thugs, or to portray Black men as in prison. That's what's popular. There's a ton of shows out there by Black producers that reinforce this kind of entertainment type culture. But when I have a friend from China, and I've shared this before, who says, this is what she told me when she went to China to visit. She goes back to China every other year to visit her family. She tells me about the image and portrayal of Black people in China is not good outside of sports. Those are her words.
Not good at all.
Right? Well, my cousin took his daughters to Italy and they're touring a classroom, and on the wall, you have a European slave owner on the wall drawn with chains around the necks of Africans following him. This is what's on the classroom in Italy. To this day, this is how we're portrayed in some of the worldview. I can't say all of the worldview because I don't know all of the worldview, but pretty much I'm banking.
But you know what, Tone?
Go ahead.
I think for our viewers, we need to quantify what we mean when we say we. And this is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
We're Black and we're Americans.
100.
And our portrayal is different from, say, Nigerians.
Absolutely.
The reason why it's so different is because of who is driving Black American culture, who has the loudest voices.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the problem is the ones that have the loudest voices. And I think we've talked about this, here and there. I think the ones with Black culture, the ones that have the loudest voices, they seem to be the most ratchet. And I'm talking about the ones going through music and popular entertainment. It seems like the lowest common denominator is the aspect of Black American culture that is pumped out of the country and is going around the world. Like, case in point, and I'm gonna turn it loose. When Black Panther, the movie, was shown in China, in America, they had the Black Panther poster with Chadwick Boseman with his helmet off. But in China, they demanded that the helmet be on. Movies that have prominent Black characters, you have to do a completely different marketing scheme in China because, like you said, their view of Black culture is not what we know it to be, because we know is many strata.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, which is interesting considering the more recent and the more and more people dig into the history of China and its origin of Africans, where it gets deep. They even tried to sequester a Chinese scientist, from sharing early DNA evidence. They tried to sequester this dude for almost 8 years before he finally was able to get the information out about the origins of the people of China.
Did you see the recent discoveries? It's probably recent and new for me, but the recent discoveries about Black samurai in Japan.
Absolutely.
This new to me.
Yeah.
I just stumbled.
Check out the Black general from Russia, bro. Our history gets deep, bro. Yeah. But Mike, my question for you is, based on Gary's comments, is it who holds the voice of the culture, or is it who is presented as the voice of the culture, or both? It's even.
Good question. Good question.
I think it's who presents it, right? Because when I look at let's just take hip hop for example. When I look at hip hop, you know, I think of people like, and I'm old school, so you know, I think of people like Public Enemy and KRS-One and Heavy D, and you know, a lot of those East Coast cats. Like when they came out, you know, rap was about telling stories and painting a picture, and hip hop was new and it was fresh and it was different. And then, like when NWA came out, you know, that whole outlook of hip hop changed. Like the demographic of hip hop changed, and it was no longer cool to be that guy and you know that guy that told the stories and talked about things that you know that everyday people kind of went through. You talking to girls and stuff like that, you know. And then it went to the gangster rap, and everybody wanted to be a gangster rapper and all of these things. And I look at rap now, and I look at the people that's famous, and I look at the fact that half of them don't even have talent. If we just gonna be honest, they're not even really talented. And I'm not saying, look, if you listen to who you listen to, you like who you like. But you know, I came from a time when if you was talking about being a rap, you know, that you had to be able to, number one, write your own lyrics, and then you had to be a lyricist in some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? You had to talk about something. But these guys, they just do whatever. But and everything in life, it's just like, it seems like the ones that are the worst are the loudest. And it's because those of us that don't live that way, a lot of times we don't say anything. You know what I mean? It's just like, and it's not like, and it's a very small demographic, right? It could be like everybody ain't ratchet. Everybody don't act that way. Everybody don't dress that way. Everybody don't look that way. It's a small percentage, but it's but they seem to be the most vocal. They seem to be the most present. They seem to be the ones that's mostly out there, because those of us that's not like that, we just sit back and all we do is complain, and we say, "Oh, look at that, look at this, that, and the other." But what are we doing to counter that presentation? So if we're not doing anything to say, hey, this isn't all of us. All of us don't act this way. All of us don't think this way. All of us don't do this. Then how else are the people going to look at us? Yeah. You know, so it's all about the presentation. And if the worst of us are the ones that's out there in the forefront, then that's how the folks are going to see us. So we that are on that other side of the coin, we need to do what we have to do to be the louder voice. And this is I was talking to you earlier about why we do our show. It's so much out there. It's so much garbage out there, and there's so much noise that somebody has to be the voice of reason. You know what I mean? If you got people up there saying 1 + 1 = 3, and you know it doesn't, then say, "Hey man, 1 + 1 don't equal 3. Why are you listening to this guy?"
Right.
Don't sit up there and just be in your corner like, look at him talking about 1 + 1 =. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Boy, I tell you. But you're not openly saying anything.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? The squeakiest wheel gets the oil. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so if they're the ones that's making the most noise, they're the ones that's going to get the most attention.
Yes, indeed. No doubt. Somebody said, "What up, Unc?"
That's my nephew, man. What's up, nephew?
What's up, J-Dub? So let's get into it, man. Kirk Franklin.
Let's get it.
Has released, again, I'm making up words, a testamentary, a documentary.
Copyright that. Copyright that.
Yeah, you need to copyright that.
He's released a documentary. And I'm calling it a documentary. It's kind of like a short film. He's got an album coming out October 6th.
Mm-hmm.
He released a documentary called Father's Day. And in Father's Day, Kirk Franklin, after all these years, I don't know if you've seen it or not, Mike.
Yeah, I did. I watched it.
So we've all watched
it. Because everybody's like, "Are you talking about Kirk Franklin tonight?" I'm like, "What happened to Kirk Franklin?" I didn't even know what was going on. So I had to go watch it.
So Kirk Franklin discovers who his biological father is. A man who lives right down the street from his studio. Kirk Franklin is
That was crazy.
Yes.
3 years old, and he just finds out who his biological father is. And the reason I wanted to talk about this on Christian Men, Christian Walk, Christian Talk, because these are the things that we deal with as men. I want to get into a breakdown of how I perceive this, because I looked at this from many angles. And that's not a judgment of Kirk Franklin. I'm choosing my words carefully, mainly because Christianity in America has become so soft that we can't even hold Christians accountable anymore for anything that they do.
That's facts.
Christianity has become so watered down that people
That's
are
facts.
very sensitive to defend mess.
That's
But
facts.
choose my words carefully, mainly for that reason. Okay. My first observation is the marketing around this. So when you're doing a documentary, you're going to have marketing around it, right? So if it's a personal issue, you want to deal with some things in person. But Kirk Franklin is a public figure. In his words, he's the GOAT. But, you know, that the lamb, the lion will bow down to. But that's another subject. That's another story.
Don't get us started on
I'm
that.
like, all right, here we go.
I know. What did you think when I just want to go straight to the living room scene when he's sitting down on the couch in this man's house and he hands him the DNA results? What was going through y'all mind?
I don't know. I watched it and I thought it was I don't want to say weird. I mean, it was probably kind of surreal that here you are and you're handing this man, you know, the results to a DNA test that says, hey, you know, you are the father. Now you got to keep in mind though, remember, when the rumors that started up around the funeral, for those of y'all that didn't watch it, you know, there were some things that came out when he was at this particular funeral and this guy was there and he mentioned that he dated his mom at one point in time. And so he openly submitted to getting this test. It was like, look, you know, with all this talk, let me go ahead and see, you know, if it is, because I don't know. And so Kirk, you know, he then had his DNA and then it was a match and, you know, he was all shocked and surprised, I guess, or whatever. He acted that part out real good. I'm sorry. He was really shocked and surprised. And so he hands them the report. And I don't know as if he did it to say, you know, so where you been, or like, you know, what do you think? It was just a weird kind of awkward moment. And I didn't know if he did it just to, maybe he was just doing it as a courtesy to just say, hey, here you go. Pops, you got a son.
Stop, nephew.
Stop it, Jay. Look, I'm trying not to say that.
But hey, you know what? Well, I'm gonna help you out.
Oh no.
I'm gonna help you out, bro. Now, it's two layers to this from my perspective. I'll be brief and I'm gonna hand it back to you. But it's two layers. There's a genuine layer. I'm not touching that.
Yeah, right.
I'm not touching that. I'm keeping it on the documentary or the testamentary layer. And I have a very difficult time trusting anybody that's involved in reality television. Because whenever the cameras are rolling, it's almost impossible to be genuine, because everything that you say, everything that you do, every interaction, it's driven by the desire for ratings. It's driven by the desire for views. So, again, I'm keeping it at the testamentary layer. Especially when you have to have signed disclosures and contracts and all this stuff. That's the aspect of it that is planned. That's the aspect that is premeditated. That's the aspect that is for the show. So, am I saying that he exploited this very personal thing in his life? I'm not going to go as far as to say that, to say that he exploited it. I'm not going to say that because I can't relate. Me and my father like peas and carrots. My father been married to my mother since 1965. So I can't relate to that, but on the level of what I saw, it looked as if it was intentionally and strategically done to coincide with the release of his album. Therefore, I take it with a grain of salt. That's just me. And stone me to death if Christian community stone me to death. That's the way I view the documentary, not his very real issues finding out who his father was. That's real. And I'm not touching that.
Right.
Because had to have been a lot of unpacking, a lot of processing that had to take place even before the first footage was shot for the documentary. But on the documentary level, as I finish, I think it was show business 101.
Okay,
and it coincides with how Kirk Franklin's life has been within the last decade, 20 years. Dude is off the reservation as far as I'm concerned. I'm done.
All right, I wasn't going to go there, but since you went there, let's go. All right, so look, here's some stuff that stuck out to me.
Come on, nephew.
Now, it irked me, number one, that you, like all the people that was singing with you and everything, like I felt that I had to tell them exactly what was going on, you know, because they sing with me and they're taking this journey with me. So I decided that I wanted to tell them exactly what was going on. They don't need to
fuel for the album.
Right. They don't need to know all that stuff, man.
Service tonight. Y'all rough service tonight.
They don't need to know that. Look, hey y'all, look, we finna hold off on this recording. I'm going through some stuff. I'm gonna holler back at y'all.
Thank you.
Come on. Oh, whatever. The scene when he pulls up to his aunt's house, which his aunt was a piece of work.
Auntie Sandra wasn't no punk, bro.
Auntie Sandra wasn't no punk. He was like, look. Do you remember when he called him, Sandra? And she was like, hello. Yeah. And he was like, I'm sorry, Auntie Sandra. I was like, get a woman her respect. Stop playing. And so look, when they pull up, what did he do? He gave her the papers, the probably the papers of record and all this stuff. It's like, you mean to tell me that, I mean, and he on camera. I'm just going to sit here because I don't feel comfortable. You don't feel comfortable. You feel comfortable putting all your business on this thing, but you don't feel comfortable going in the house and sitting with your auntie. Stop it, Kirk.
Show business.
Stop it. And then you go through the whole process. I decided I'm going to name this album Father's Day. Word. That's what we're doing, Kirk. We named the album Father's Day. All right. Look, he found his dad. God knows on that regard, I'm happy for him because
absolutely,
you know, and I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To grow up and is searching for something that you have a longing, that you have this longing to have, and you just never had it, and all of a sudden you didn't even realize how close it was to you.
It's right there.
It was right there, and you found it. I'm glad for the brother, but the theatrics were not needed. Look, after he gave him the DNA test, this was cringy to me. After he gave him the DNA test, he said, I want to hug you, but I don't know if it's
After we've seen many videos of people who were put up for adoption.
Come on, man.
Who found their parents, and that was the first thing that was done automatic.
Dude, that was automatic, bro. When he came to the door, it was so odd because he was like, well, come on in, gentlemen. And I'm like, come on in. If this was me, and if this was the person who was supposed to be my dad, and now here you are Dude, you don't know how long
I'd be a wreck.
I have waited for this moment. I would have been no more good, Tone.
Yeah,
Right.
I got you, man.
You understand what I'm saying?
It would have been uncontrollable crying.
I wouldn't have been no more good, and he was too casual for me.
Yeah.
Show business.
He was too casual for me. But I want to hug you, but I don't know if it's appropriate right now. I said, all them years, boy, you really practiced for this role. I'm telling you, that's just me. I'm just saying.
You can't trust people that are politicians, and you can't trust people in reality television, like that whole Preachers of LA,
Jesus,
Preachers of Atlanta.
Don't even
When you go on a show like that, and you look at Kirk Franklin on this reality show called The One.
Stop. We ain't going there.
Yeah, we ain't going there. Don't go there.
I'm not going there. But I'm using that as an example where he's on camera.
Yes.
And he has to say things in order to make the show successful.
Yes.
Same thing on the documentary level.
I got you. But
I
I
want to say some things to make it successful.
I want to take this to where nephew J Dub is going. He
Go
said,
for
"This
it.
almost sounds like the story of my father and I."
Mm.
Right? We get the theatrics. I
Right.
think we all agree with that. Gary, you already know my breakdown. We talked about
Yes,
this,
sir.
on Sunday, right? Like, yeah, there was definitely a marketing campaign around this, and where people say, "Take your mess and make it your message."
Mhm.
He has been able to take his mess, make it a message, and make it and monetize it at the same time.
They're successful at doing that. I mean,
Very successful at doing that. I think Jay-Z on his last album, going through the stuff he did with Beyonce, talking about, I took my life and I turned it into a career mixtape.
Man.
Right? So when they make lemons, they give you lemons, make lemonade, like they're doing that. I want to look at this from the angle of comments I've seen about the mother. I'm not gonna say a lot of the comments said about the mother, because some of them comments, yes, Philip, yes, absolutely. A lot of the comments about the mom, I just think they were downright degrading. Gary knows I'm a protector of Black women for a reason. And if you know my story, well, maybe you don't know my story.
Tell it, Tom.
I hug you because it is the right thing to do. When I say I love you, because it is the right thing to say. But in my heart, hey, mama, you were so far away. Sometimes I wish that you never came back to me. You left me and my brother so you could snort coke. You called, said you come back to build up our hope. It took years before we realized that was a joke. Two young brothers lost in this world, so hard to cope. And you took my Aunt Belinda with her caramel skin. You got her doped up and addicted to heroin. That was the same drug that did her in. You were jealous of her looks and she died so thin. You can't imagine at her funeral what I went through, because I'm staring at her casket wishing that it was you. Because, Mom, you never gave us a chance to fight. You turned us over to the state. Mom, that wasn't right. Don't you know I wake up in cold sweats at night because a man ran up in me like I was his wife so many times, looked at my wrist and grabbed the knife while voices screaming in my head, boy, end your life. So that's the short version of the history with me and my biological mother.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to nail that. That's the short version. So I don't want to get into bashing his mom. But accountability is accountability.
Okay, listen.
Accountability is accountability.
That's facts.
So I can get with you denying the first DNA test, though I wasn't even feeling that denial. But denying the second one? Come on, bruh. Mike, go ahead, man. Take it away.
Dude, look, we just talked about this Friday on the show. And we were talking about how, and ladies, I don't want y'all to be upset. I know y'all don't know me. I'm new to the show. But some of y'all don't take accountability for y'all actions.
Tell it.
Tell it.
And you all beat us over the head when we don't do it. A guy don't take care of his kid, he's considered a deadbeat dad. When a woman gives up a baby, she's considered brave.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And both of you have a one-night stand, you get pregnant. The question is, why didn't he use birth control? But the woman has never questioned why she didn't use any birth control. So there is a level of accountability that sometimes some women don't take. When she denied the first DNA test, that blew me. I was like, wow, it clearly says 99.9999999% that this man is the dad. And so he goes and said, well, listen, okay, you don't trust that test. That's fine. I'm willing to take a second test.
Mm-hmm.
He goes and take a second test, and it says, well, the results is 99.9999999% that he is the father. And I don't agree with that. It's science.
She wanted to hold on to the facade. She wanted to hold on to the lie. She wanted to hold on to the remaining shreds of her image that she had portrayed. That's a lot of time when people hold on to a lie. It's not that they don't know the truth.
Right.
They're holding on to what they have projected.
Yep.
And that's true for men, women, children. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. And I'm just like, what else? What are you holding on to? It's like whatever image he had of you or whatever, however he saw you in his mind, I don't think that changes. But when you deny, and when you have denied him this thing that he has been looking for these years, and then when you see it's the truth and you still deny it, it's like, how brazen do you have to be?
Bro.
But you said it, man. You can't. The woman, and I'm not talking about all women.
Not all.
Yeah.
Cannot be accused. The woman.
They can't though. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, and it's just like, my thing is like, and one thing we talk about on the show, if you're gonna critique and if you're gonna criticize, you have to be consistent across the board.
True.
You know what I'm saying? In order for it to be valid in my eyes. And it's just like, or as the old saying used to go for some of y'all that's a little older, as they used to say, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're going to hold me to a certain standard, ladies, then you need to be held to that same standard. And for her to just have just no accountability in the situation, like it just didn't happen.
And Sister Nina, I hear what you're saying. Sister Nina, you said if she wants to have a relationship with her son, being honest is the first step with him. And you're absolutely right. But you heard what she said. You heard what Kirk said. If you can't give this to me, and all he wanted, I just want to hear you say it.
Right.
I already know the truth. But truth is different from when we find out and then from when you share it.
Agreement goes a long way.
I want to hear it.
Agreement goes a long way.
Yep.
Tom Cruise already knew Jack Nicholson who ordered the hit. He already knew he ordered the hit.
You can't handle the truth.
He couldn't handle the truth.
He already knew.
Oh my goodness.
To hear it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's some levels here, right? And I'm talking about spiritual growth.
Mm-hmm.
And if people know I'm a Kirk Franklin fan. I've had challenges the last 4 years,
and I'm not.
Yeah, we already know, Gary. We already.
It's like that dude.
I've had some challenges the last 4 years, clearly. But if you listen to Kirk's music, I've ministered to his music. I've taught from his music, mimes and dance. So. My mama gave me up when I was 4 years old. It didn't destroy my body, but it killed my soul. I was cold because I'm sleeping in my back seat. Understand the spirit's willing, but the flesh is weak. I take it serious, these demons in a man's mind. So it's like you get where he's going.
Mm-hmm.
I shared with Gary and another brother. It was one statement he made that stood out to me. And this is where a challenge came in for me being a Christian man. When he thought one man was his father, he said, I hated that dude my whole life.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He hated him till he died.
Now, I get emotions are emotions. Gary already knows in my house who's the emotional one. He will stand on it 2 toes down, 10 toes down and tell you, that's you, bruh. Right?
Yes, sir.
But for a Christian man to let the word hate come out of his mouth after years of ministry, if you're just finding out this news, but for years you held on to this hatred, I think we have to be very careful in what we put out there, because there's always the illusion that you can be in ministry full time and live the life you want to and harbor whatever you want to inside of you.
Mhm.
Tone, though, but there's something that we also have to do as the community,
Yeah.
as the church. We can't assume that some of these people are saved just because they can make some hit Christian records.
Ooh. Gary on fire tonight, y'all.
Because, no.
Oh, you're good, Gary. No, I know exactly.
That's all, and I'm not questioning
Mhm.
Kirk Franklin's salvation, because that's not for me to do. A tree will be known by the fruit that it bears.
Yeah.
But I look at Kirk Franklin as a Trojan horse. That's me.
I got you.
Because especially recently, it makes me say, now wait a minute. Whoa. And then I look at his following. I look at the people that are behind him. Your music is not enough to make me disarm myself and put aside doctrine and say, you know what, you're just going through some things. You just complicated. You just complex. That's all I'm saying.
No,
if people love his music and attribute him as being saved, that's great.
I mean, I don't think Kirk Franklin says he's a Christian. I'm gonna take him at his word at that. I believe the brother is. Right.
That's fair.
Yeah. You know,
that's fair.
I'll stand on that.
That's
but
fair.
I also have to also be careful. Like, you challenged me in some of the things I've wanted to say in my music.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And but I have an ear with you.
And you challenged me to be open.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
So it's a two-way street.
But I'm always stand on, you. I'll stand on you versus openness all the time. You already know that. Because I know you draw a line that you will never let me cross. And if I cross it, it's because I chose to. Right? But I trust your counsel. Mike has a deep love for black men. I trust his counsel.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? When you don't have that kind of counsel behind you, you will get challenged in your ministry in public by a street preacher.
Facts.
That's what happened to Kirk Franklin.
Yeah. Sure did. White guy too, which was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a white guy?
It was a white guy, bro.
Yeah.
Long hair, looked like he just got from surfing.
But I like how Kirk did bring him in for a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But the dude held his ground.
He held his ground.
He stood his ground. I mean, you can call Tony Evans. I don't care who Tony Evans is. He didn't say that, but I'm just saying, like,
right.
This dude was 10 toes down. Like, nah, bro, you out of order.
You out of order. You need to repent.
That's all he was saying, because, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if I come out and say I hate somebody, the people that know me, they're gonna put me on blast. If I come out and say a cuss word on my album, it'll be over for Tony Briscoe. If an audio gets released of me berating my daughter because I'm mad and upset and I'm cussing her out and I'm calling her all kind of names, Tony Briscoe in Chicago is done.
It's over for you. And here's
done in your own house.
You've done in your own household. And you know what? The crazy part about that is that I remember when Kirk came out and he was doing his thing with Stomp, and how a lot of traditional Christians was like, yo, I don't like this stuff. And and I'm like, okay, I get it. It was different and things of that nature. But as things went on and Kirk was kind of doing his stuff, and you just feel like, all right. And people can love God, but they don't necessarily live the life.
Absolutely.
And this is what people get confused. You can love the Lord, and really, really love the Lord, but some folks ain't living a nickel worth of saved, because there's a difference in loving God and being saved.
That's right. Let me give you some history, bro.
That's fact. That's good right there.
MC Hammer came to a church. in Chicago years ago. Not gonna say what church it was. Got up. He had heard one of a famous bishop's sermons. Said he heard this man preach the gospel, and he just wanted to come, and he got to address the congregation. And 2 weeks later, Rumps and a Bump came out. Another young man.
Woo! I remember that song.
Came to a church. Not gonna say which church. Did a concert. Had a song with a group called Thump. 2 weeks later, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you.
Oh, wow.
I was like, hold up.
Yeah.
What? And this has been the challenge that Lecrae has had to deal with. My friend, who is not a Christian, I'm over his house because I put him on to Lecrae. So of course, when I come over, he like, hey, I got a question for you, Tone. Like, you know, you a minister, you an elder. I got a question for you. He said Lecrae could have done a song with any producer in this country. Why did he do a song with Ty Dolla $ign?
Tone, that goes to show you that even unsaved people, they know, they have a clear understanding of how Christians are supposed to act, even if they're unwilling to live that life, even if they're unwilling to be saved. They know.
That right there.
They know.
That right there. What you just said. They know. He was clear. Tone, I know you love Lecrae, man. I know you, but I didn't know who Ty Dolla $ign was. He was like, oh, let me show you. So he puts on a song by Ty Dolla $ign, and there was no way for me to respond to him. Because there's a difference between being light in a dark place and light with darkness.
That's good. Yes, sir.
There's a difference and a distinction with that. Right? So when you see all of this, I heard a song. I don't know if it's Kanye. I don't know if it's AI is doing him. I heard a song. Kanye's on a mixtape with somebody, and he's like completely gone bananas on this.
Wow.
He starts it off saying, I'm done with preaching. And he goes into everything that he's experienced, but his language and vocabulary in it. See, there's more acceptance of secular artists who do gospel songs than there are of gospel artists.
See, Tone, music is one of the most powerful weapons that the enemy has, and one of the most powerful weapons that the King of Kings has. When you see Snoop Dogg doing a gospel record, when you see guys like Mace leave hip-hop, become a pastor, leave the church, go back into the world with Cameron. I'm not talking about how they're making their money. It's a podcast, just like, but you understand what I'm saying. We're talking about the standards for a Christian. It's such a deceptive device if it's used that way, and it can cause people to lower their guards. It can cause people to say, well, you know what, he's all right. Yeah. But they may not be all right.
They may not be all right. You know, I know we jump, y'all. That's what we do when we talk as men. Like we'll have 100 subjects. The documentary, I think it is impactful.
Yeah.
But it's not as impactful because people like us can sense what's genuine and what's not, what's authentic and what's not, what's made for TV versus what's reality. Right? There's a few things I think we're missing in this documentary. One of the things I think was missing in this documentary, and I shared this, Mike, with Gary, for a person of his caliber, And for a person of his status, I did not hear a message of how God has kept him. I did not hear a message that shares that when my mother and father forsook me, the Lord took me up. At his level in the game, I expect, this is just my expectation, so this is me. I expect him with his platform to be so intentional to talk about, I did not have my biological father, which we've known, that my mother gave me up when I was young, that we've known. When you go on film and make these statements, there has to be a direct, for me, for a solidified person who says they're Christian, there has to be a direct message of intent. On my first album, I shared a whole lot of pain, but I also had a song that says soul restoration, that talked about my relationship with the Lord and how his grace and his peace and his mercy have covered me through all the pain. I didn't see that, bro. And I think for a Christian man on that platform, I don't care what color you are, for a Christian man on that platform to leave things open. I love the part with his son when he touched his face, because those are things the media not going to portray. They only want to hear about the Kirk Franklin who cussed his kid out.
Yeah.
Which most black parents was like, whatever, dog. Step out of pocket with pops, you're going to get checked. You know what I'm saying? But I love that part. They're not going to show the reconciliation with him and his son. I love that whole.
That was, I think that for me, that to me, I think was probably the most genuine thing of that whole production. I don't like calling it production, but you know,
it's a production. It is,
you know, because I'm look, my dad passed when I think I was 21 when he passed. I'm 48 now. And the crazy part about it is that he died, I want to say 4 days before Father's Day.
Man.
And the thing is that right around the time he passed, we had really just started to repair our relationship. Moment of transparency. I didn't get along with my dad during my teenage years, which I think a lot of us go through that. But he had his view of the world and I had my view, and we just always clashed. And for some years, it was just like, I just don't even like this dude, you know, because he just don't understand me. And it's just like, you know, he had such a direct view of things, and like he never tried to explore things from a different point of view, which is why I think I try to do that. And so because I want to really understand why a person thinks the way he or she does. And so that
black and white view,
it was really black. There was no gray for my dad whatsoever.
Oh, that's challenging, bro.
Yeah, and it was really challenging. And so we had some bouts, man. And it wasn't until, you know, I graduated high school and I started working and stuff. And admittedly, I started seeing some of the things that he was trying to, you know, to put in me. And I slowly started to appreciate that. And so as I came into the realization of some things, you know, we started to kind of reconcile, and it was really getting to a point where I really started to appreciate my father. And there was a time when, and so right around that time when we were really, really just like, you know, like really coming together. And it seems like as soon as I kind of had my father back, he was taken from me.
Wow.
You know, he didn't see me get married. You know, grandkids never met him, never seen, you know, so when he died, you know, he wasn't at my wedding. You know, he wasn't there to meet his grandsons. You know, he didn't go to their graduations. He couldn't celebrate his birthdays. And those times when I wanted to call him and say, man, Dad, Mike is walking now.
Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to do that.
Yeah.
And so when I saw him, you know, kind of getting that thing back together with his son, that thing, that did something to me, because it was like that relationship. You don't understand how that father-son relationship is. It's rooted, man, because it's like this is somebody who, you know, I remember holding my son and looking at him and thinking, dude, what am I going to do with you? You know, and it was just like, because now I got this little life who's dependent on me. And it was just like my whole goal was to try to make sure that I put in him the best qualities that I could, that I put in him, you know, teach him right from wrong, and to love and to treat everybody the way he wanted to be treated, and just to hopefully grow up to be a productive member of society. And this was just from holding him when he was born. Like, I'm literally holding him in one hand, man, thinking all of this stuff. And so to see him after he went through the thing with his son, and then kind of to getting that thing back together, that was deep for me. And the reason why I say that is because there are a lot of us, even now as adults, are kind of estranged from our fathers, whether it be from differences of opinion and something that may have happened from years or whatever. And it's just like, man, you know, forgiveness is something. And we have to understand that forgiveness isn't for the other person, but it's for us.
Yeah.
So that those feelings that you have, those things that you've been harboring and holding on,
you get released.
You get a release from that stuff, man.
Yeah.
And me, before my father died, I was able to get that, because it was like I really was holding on to some resentment for this man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I was able to, before he died, I was glad I was able to let that stuff go. And I think that's why I miss him so much now, because it's like, once I let it go, I was really ready to see like where we can go from this, where this relationship can go from here, you know, and it was just gone. So it's like, man, take those moments and appreciate them. And if it's some stuff that you got to work out, man, work that stuff out.
Yeah, no,
that's facts.
First of all, thank you for
facts.
Sharing. Thank you for your transparency, man.
Yes, sir.
The second line of that song on my first album, I shake your hand because it is the right thing to do, and I call you dad because it is the right thing to say. But in my heart, hey, Papa, you are so far away. Sometimes I wish that you never came back to me. Your sperm hit mom's egg and it brought forth a seed, but you never stayed to see what that seed grow to be. I'm a man now scared to have my own kids because I fear I do the same thing that you did. I'm going to get up and walk away and never look back. Beat my woman up and force her to sell crack. You best believe the Enduro won't go out like that. I'll revolutionize the thoughts of a man that's black with no degree. I'll still strive for prosperity. Kiss my child on the cheek, even when they 18. Work on my knees to pay my daughter's way through school. Man, in the grave, I'm going to be a better father than you. To learn to drive, had to turn to my man Big Moo. Now that's a homie that has done more for me than you. I'm so glad I never had to bear your name. Help me forgive him, because God, I'm in so much pain. Man,
that forgiveness is serious, man. It is
serious, man.
It is something that I because this weekend we were talking about repentance at the church and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we can't move forward in our lives.
That's right.
Because of the resentment and the things that we're holding towards other people. And you may rightfully so. Rightfully so. It may be you may feel the way that you do, but I promise you, holding on to that stuff is not,
it destroys you.
Any good. It breaks you down. I've seen some people my age and they look 20 years older than me.
Yes, sir.
Holding on to that old stuff.
Holding on to that stuff, and it's just like, bro, let that stuff go.
Yeah. And
try and try a little reconciliation and see how that works out for you. How about that?
Yeah, it's, man. So my dad, man, I always knew who my dad was. I always know.
Look, you know I'm hood because my computer about to shut down. Let me switch sides real quick.
You know, I've always known who my parents are. Period. First of all, I've always known who they are. The interesting part is, I remember at my brother's house one day. My dad was out there, family was out there, and I decided that was the day I'm gonna let my dad know how I felt about it. And I've always loved my dad.
Yes, sir.
And I said, I love you, but as a father, you were trash, dude.
Man.
Like, and I said, you were trash. And he looked at me and he said, I left y'all because it was my choice and it was my life. You ain't gotta like it. I don't care if you like it or not.
Man.
Now, if you want to fight about it, we could throw some hands.
Man.
And he was serious. And I was like, I'm not trying to box you. I'm just letting you know, like, you know, if that's how you want to process it and handle it, that's how you want to process and handle it. But I'm just letting you know, as a father, you suck, dude. It wasn't until I went through counseling and I shared this, and they said, I want to make two things clear. Your father was a horrible dad to you and your brother. Then they said, but what you have to accept is that your father was absolutely right in his statement. It was his life.
Essentially, yeah.
They was like, this was gonna get you healing. That other part, you can hold on to that forever and be no good. What I want you to be able to accept is exactly what your dad said. He said he made a choice and a decision.
In essence, he was right.
And he was 100% right. Working through that. Didn't talk to my dad for a while after that because he always in and out forever. If he needed something, he'd reach out through some channel. I'd drop it off because he was still my dad, right?
Yeah.
When he found out my wife was ill for 2 straight weeks, that man called every day for 2 straight weeks. And he would not talk long. How's my daughter-in-law? Had only met her a couple of times.
Yeah.
He'd only held Journey once, bro. She 18 now. Once. But for that 2 weeks, let me know what his heart really was.
That's what's up.
The challenge for me came after that. Because you talk about building and reconciling, Mike. My dad had a stroke. So if you weren't in his life consistently over a 30-year period, he had no recollection of you.
Wow.
That's when I felt cheated. That's what, okay, God, we got to talk about this, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got my man's back. And he has a stroke and he erases his couldn't even recognize me, bro. So when I walk in to see him with my sister, he goes, "Who is that?" Bro, it was like a blade that just turned.
Wow.
When Pops passed away, I'm talking to my sister and I said, "Man, what was it like for you growing up without dad?" And she looked at me and she said, "What are you talking about? I've never not known him." Now I'm like, okay. I tell people, because I want to bring up this forgiveness piece you talked about, Mike. Your forgiveness is only as good as your latest memory of an event and an encounter you had with somebody. Forgiveness has layers to it. So while I would like to say I had a blanket forgiveness in my heart, after my sister said that to me, I'm like, I had to go back to the altar, bro. Because I'm like, wait.
Like, man, I thought I was done with this.
I thought I was done with this.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to backstab, like, man, right?
Wow.
But it's a process.
It's a whole process, and it's a little bit beyond let go and let God move forward. That's true, but it's a process to letting go, and it's a process to move.
It's a process.
Part of it. What I did in the midst of all of that, then I'll let y'all share final words. What I did in the midst of all of that, and I do it now with my biological mother. The Bible says, from the law to being repeated by Yeshua in the New Testament, honor thy mother and thy father.
Period.
So the first commandment would promise that your days may be numbered.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary, if I miss something out of that, Gary, add the full text to it if I miss something in there. I say this to say, God did not say, Jah did not say, Yahweh did not say, honor your mother and father based on how they treated you.
Honor them, period.
He just said, honor them, period. And I believe my life has been blessed in that process because in the midst of all the lying, the hurt, the deception, and the manipulation, I still honored my mother and my father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my father, Tony, you have glimpses of my relationship with my father, and
yes, sir.
There's nothing to forgive. My father's not a perfect man, but he was a perfect father. I told him on Father's Day that I'm not a fraction of what you are. That man is, I wish I could partially fill his shoes, man. I mean that.
Yeah.
And to bring it back to what we were looking at with what we were discussing with the documentary.
Yeah.
I hate to be the cold water to the discussion, but I looked at that. And on one hand, I really hope that this is genuine healing.
Mm-hmm.
I really do, because I think the relationship with Kirk Franklin and especially one of his sons, it's public, and there's some healing that needs to take place.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I'm measuring that by my experience.
Yes, sir.
And my father, he was always there 100% of the time. I'm 51 years old, man. And this man, I hang on every word he says. I have complete confidence in anything that he says to me. I mean, anything. So when I'm looking at that, and I see when my father has no cameras, no adulation, no trophies, no nothing, just doing it every day, going to work every day, coming home every night. I'm looking at that. I'm kind of like, I hope that's genuine, but it makes me look at it sideways because of the presence of the cameras.
Absolutely.
But I hope it blessed men and spurred men that are fathers to repair relationships with their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with their sons and sons with their fathers. So I just hope there's some blessing that can come out of it. That's my 2 cents.
Appreciate it. Go ahead, Mike.
My oldest, he's 21, and I remember when he was before he was going off to college, and much like him, much like me and my dad, me and him, just some things we didn't see eye to eye on, And I remember I was having really bad separation anxiety because it's like this dude is about to go out into the world and go off to college. He was going away for college. And those things started to come up with me. It's like, did I prepare him enough?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To be out there. And I remember, just really just dreading the day. Like because I didn't want him to go, because it's like I wanted to give him a little more time and like to impart whatever else I felt that I could in him. But time was drawing nigh, and I remember talking to him before he left. I just told him, I said, look, man, I'm not perfect. And I was like, and I know that I may have done some things that you may have saw that was whatever you have, whatever feelings about. I said, man, but know that everything that I've ever done for you has never been to your detriment. I've always did everything that I thought that was best for you. Oftentimes when it was detrimental to myself, because I wanted to make sure that you was okay. Yeah. And I said, but no matter how you may feel about me, I was like, please understand that I don't care where you go and what you do and how you do it, man, you always got a home.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna love you no matter what, And he's not a hugger. My youngest kid is a hugger. And I remember he hugged me, and he hadn't hugged me like that since he was like maybe 10 or 12.
Wow.
And that really did something for me. Now, I say that to say that we talked about accountability earlier.
Mhm.
One of the things that the Lord ordained for us as men was to take care of our families and to be, protectors and providers, especially fathers, because, y'all know, men, that if the family fails, even if it's the woman's fault, you know who they gonna blame?
It's on you.
It's on you. So, you have so we have to kind of make sure that we own our game when it comes to that, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
I want to just encourage the guys out there, man, those of you that have sons, and not, even if they're not your actual sons, nephews, whatever the young men are in your life, try to be the best that you can be for them. And if you're estranged from your son, if you're estranged, reconcile that thing, squash that thing, because sometimes fellas pride get in the way. And we be like, nope, I ain't saying nothing because he was this, that, and the other. No, you have to make sure that you do your part to let that stuff go, because in order for bridges to be rebuilt, in order for ties to be reconnected, you have to make sure that you do your part so that thing you're harboring, that thing that you're holding on to, is not preventing any healing and reconciliation to take place. We got to make sure that, fellas, stop trying to live vicariously through your children too.
That's true. That's good.
Because some of us be trying to live our lives because we didn't do some things, and now we trying to have our kids to do what we wanted to do. Stop that. Stop putting that on them. That's not their life. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we also have to get rid of some of that parental pride too. That's that pride that says that, I'm right, even when we know we ain't always right.
Yes, sir.
You understand? So there's
apologize.
You gotta
apologize.
It's okay to apologize to your kid.
Yeah.
Now, it's not saying that, that's not a sign of weakness. Please understand, that's not a sign of weakness. Sometimes there are just some things that we just didn't do right by.
That's right.
You understand? You feel what I'm saying?
Look, get on their case when they mess up. Get on your case.
Get on your case. Look, man. Yeah. Look, dude. All right, look. Now, I ain't do that right. I kind of dropped the ball on that one, but here's what we're gonna do going forward. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I had that conversation with them. Look, man, it's not gonna be perfect. I'm not gonna do everything that you like. But everything that I do is for your benefit.
That's right.
Everything that I do is for your benefit. And I don't want you to ever doubt that. You can doubt my motives or doubt my methods, I should say, but please know that my motives, is always for the best of you. But stop holding on to those things. Ladies too. Some of y'all looking at your husband sideways because you holding on to some stuff that you should have let go.
From your dad.
From your dad. Let go of that stuff.
Let's be clear about that. From your daddy.
Right. That not mine, not me. But because of some stuff that your dad did that you didn't reconcile for, that you didn't forgive him for. Let that stuff go.
Yeah.
Let it go and start the repair process. That's the beginning of repairing and reconciling and healing. It's not the end all be all, because like Tony mentioned, there's layers to it. But if you can let go, that can start the healing process. And I promise you that if you do that, those things that's been holding you back, those things that have been holding you down, that you've been just festering inside of you, it is going to feel like a weight has been lifted off of your shoulders. And that's when you let God. Once you do that part, that's when the Lord can come in and he can start to move those things. He can start to soften hearts and change minds and change perspectives. But you have to take the first step and let go. That's it.
Amen. Blessings, Tony. I know I'm over time.
I gotta jump off.
Go ahead,
family. Bless you. It's a
pleasure
to
man.
make your acquaintance, my brother.
Same here, my brother. I appreciate y'all, man. Yes, sir.
Peace.
Yep. Family, I thank y'all. I know we went over tonight. I appreciate having my man Mike Wiley on with me from the Man Up podcast. This has been a great discussion, man. I want to close with one more thing I wanted to add in my, I don't even want to call it disappointment. I just want to call it a genuine piece for all this brother has been through. You went on TBN praising the Lord. You went on Oprah confessing your sins. It should have been the reverse.
Right.
Get on Oprah praising the Lord.
It's like,
get on TBN confessing your sins to the body that can hold you up.
Right.
When you step into a secular platform, there go them Christians again. There they go. They can do this and do that and just live. They worried about this community, but they ain't worried about their own community and all that. One thing I would have loved to have seen in this piece is his wife. Not just showing her on camera.
Right.
That woman has endured things that none of us will ever know.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta give homage to the woman who has stood by your side through all your stuff. You know, it's like I don't want to run no Jay-Z Nas lines because you know what did you know what will you know who. Let's keep that between me and you. This is stuff right. I would have loved to have seen, but again, if this is the beginning for the rest of my life, I get to release a documentary before I release an album. Last I checked, it had 515,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of sympathy, tons of support for him, tons of trashing of his mother, which was still weird knowing who your mom is, but having a 20-year gap between conversations. I get it because I deal with that, but that's my mom's choice. That ain't my choice. Right. You see what I'm saying? Typically, my mom reaches out when she needs something, and I show up because we already talked about the scripture.
Right.
Right. I would have loved to have seen an acknowledgement of his wife. But again, if you want to do it piece by piece, there's definitely a monetary side to this. I'm not knocking anybody for how you provide, take care of your family, or all of that. Those things have to be done. Right. But overall, I think we nailed the conversation's core, and that is fatherhood. That is forgiveness. I had a friend who texted me. She sent me a message at midnight because she didn't want to call out of respect for the house. Mm-hmm. So she sent me a message on Facebook, and she just said, "Bro, I'm glad you asked me to watch this, and I hope my dad knows, because that was his experience with his father. I hope my dad knows that I forgave him and don't blame him for the gaps in our relationship." Yeah. What's the word you said tonight, Mike? Forgiveness.
Forgiveness, bro.
So, fam, we want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Super grateful for my man Mike Wiley coming on from the Man Up podcast. Tell the folks where they can catch you, man, on what night.
Man, we stream live every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. So you can go into your weekend by hanging out with us. We have awesome conversations just like this. We get a little crazy on our show, but we definitely keep it.
They keep it 100.
But we definitely, as Christian men, though, there's a standard, and it's like we don't never do anything outside of the realm of what we feel that the Lord would allow us to go. I'm like, Tony, it's just certain things you ain't gonna hear me say. Certain things you're not gonna catch. It's certain things you're not gonna even catch on our show because we just wanted to keep that separation. You know what I mean? And so, but we stream live every Friday at 7:30 p.m. You can catch us on my page, which is Michael at Michael Wiley on Facebook, or you can go straight to our podcast page, which is the Man Up Real Talk podcast, or you can even flip over to our YouTube channel, which is ironically enough named Man Up Real Talk. So we're easy to find. If you Google Man Up Real Talk, the little logo come up with the guy, and he has like an M for a mustache. It's real dope, and you can't miss it. So if you want to hang out with us on Fridays, definitely by all means come through and hang out and have some good conversation. I think you'll enjoy it.
So remember, fam, Forgiveness is necessary for you to move forward in all your relationships.
Absolutely.
For the fathers out there who are doing your job, we commend you. For the fathers out there, like my relative, whose son thought he never paid child support until he got to his house and he showed his son receipts over 18 years of him being told by his mother that his father was never doing anything for him to support the household. For a young man to have to deal with that at 18 years old, man, y'all just hang tough and do what you got to do to make sure you're in your child's life, because they do need us.
They need us, man.
Old stat on Moody said, and it was not a great stat, but they just say, want you to hear it, that a father who's an alcoholic in the house, the child still comes out more stable than a child without a father in the house.
Wow.
It didn't come out trauma free.
Right. He still got a couple of issues, but
but just to talk to us, you still come out on top. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you, and may he richly continue to shine in your hearts. This is your boy, Tony B. Message Monday. Guest co-host Mike Wiley from the Man Up Real Talk podcast.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We Gucci. Welcome to Message Monday. Christian men, Christian walk, Christian talk with your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, faith again. Let's go. Welcome to Message Monday.